What is up, my friends? Today we are going to be checking out 3 games that I remember as a kid that had their spotlight and just faded away into the sunset, never to be heard of again. And Chuck Rock was first released in 1991 for the Atari ST and Amiga computers. Then it later went mainstream, being published by Virgin Games for the Sega Genesis in North America and the Mega Drive in Europe. This was a unique slapstick side-scrolling platformer that had beautiful graphics for its time. At least you can see that, right? And takes place in the prehistoric era. Now, the game had quick success, even though magazine critics gave it average reviews. Platformers were as popular back then as first-person shooters are today, so the game caught fire. A sequel was released 2 years later that was more aimed at kids, and the sequel featured Chuck Jr., and it just didn't get the same reception as the original. In 1994, a Chuck Rock Racing spin-off came out for the Sega CD, and it was rated the best Sega CD racing game over that year in Game Fan's 1994 Mega Awards, Volume 3, Issue 1. However, after that, we haven't seen Chuck Rock since. It's been a long time. It'd be a great thing to see a modern version of Chuck Rock. No? James Pond is the second platformer on this list, and it was published for numerous consoles and the PC back in 1990. Electronic Arts was the parent publisher for this game, and it was developed by British game developers Vic Dudine and Millennium Interactive. The character in this game was featured in some comic books at the time, and the game saw success in the 90s, especially for the Sega Genesis in North America. The game spawned 2 sequels and 1 spin-off game called The Aquatic Games. This game is a platforming puzzler. You will need to solve puzzles to defeat bosses, and the gameplay revolves around finding objects to perform specific tasks. The game was mixed with mostly positive reviews, and the game was rebooted in 2013, but the project never left the door. Its funding for the game fell short. So it's another game that we haven't seen in a long time, and I'd like to see this game done again. Gex is the third and final game on the list of forgotten platformers, and this one was my favorite of the bunch. I originally had it on the Sega Saturn and eventually repurchased it as a digital download that I now have on my PS3. Gex was developed by Crystal Dynamics and published by BMG Interactive, which was the 3DO. It was available for the PlayStation 1, the Sega Saturn, and PC. This funny green gecko was created to rival the likes of Super Mario and Sonic. The game was released in April of 1995 after 21 months of development. The game received largely positive reviews. The game was unique at the time because of Gex's platforming abilities, and also his voiceovers performed by comedian Dana Gold. The game received Best 3DO Game of 1995 by GamePro magazine. Now, the moderate success of Gex spawned 2 sequels for the PlayStation and the Nintendo 64. Gex Enter the Gecko and Gex 3 Deep Undercover, which switched from 2D platform to 3D, which was the trend at the time. Late 90s. I think developers were starting to make these 3-dimensional games. Since the late 1990s, nearly 20 years ago, we haven't seen Gex. However, in 2015, Square Enix picked up the rights to Gex, so there's a good possibility that a developer will be creating a new Gex game. There is hope. I would be excited to see that, but I'd rather see a creative, modern, 2-dimensional platformer or another 3D game. We shall see. Now, if anyone has heard any recent news on Gex, please share in the comments below. Well, I want to thank everyone for watching today. Until next time, we'll see you later. I'm out. Peace.
That is wild.